Excellent. Thank you so much, Judge Wilson. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, heart, and wisdom with us. And we love that you even share so much of your personal life and experiences. Absolutely amazing. We're super grateful for you. And like Judge Wilson said, we definitely want to open up the floor for any questions you have for him, any comments, anything that you'd like to share. Please do. The floor is open. I can't see if anyone has hands raised, but please go. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me, Chief Malo. I do see your hand raised. The
I
floor
have
is
a I have a I
yours.
have a funny story too. One funny story that I'm going to tell you about my time on the bench. I think it's funny, but I have dad humor. I am a dad, so you might not. Chief Melo, you have a question.
Oh well, no, I wasn't going to really ask a question. I was going to thank you for that. You know, as far as what the mentoring that you talked about. First of all, I didn't know that you were from Massachusetts. The, when you talk about the mentoring, I remember when my children were young, very young. I did have a mentor for both of them from the big brothers and big sisters. So it's good to know where that actually originated. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So
No,
I had other comments, but I like I said, I don't like to take up time to do all that. Other people might have questions and want to make
sure.
comments.
No.
I just
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Chief.
you know how I feel about you. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think you're wonderful.
She feel it's
You
good. It's
know,
good, right? They're good
I'm
things.
just so much you've done for our community and for the people, and everything that you bring to the tribe and you have available. And our people should know that he is a great mediator. He's great with you. Just he has great resources available. And as far as the mentoring, this is what we need today. Okay. So, and I'm going to be quiet, let other people comment or talk.
Yeah, our
But
children, our youth need, our adults need mentors. I have mentors. I'll be 57 this year, and I have mentors. And so you're never too young or never too old to either be a mentor or have a mentor. And there are so many different ways you can do it. You can do it formally through how Chief described, and I referenced big brothers, big sisters, but you can also do it informally. Brother Marquise spoke about this the other day in terms of the relationships that he had with many of the men in his life growing up. Although it may not have been formal mentoring, from the way he explained it, they were definitely mentors. And so, and he's doing the same in his life with men, little boys or girls, who he believes in his heart of hearts, and I agree with him, need to see positive male role models who not only pour into them, but also hold them accountable and give them opportunities to fall forward. And so I want to call out Brother Marquise and thank him for continuing that legacy and carrying that legacy forward. And you, Chief, you are a mentor as well. I've learned so much from you in the past few months that I've been a part of this nation, invaluable information regarding leadership and direction and how to organize large groups of people. And so thank you for your mentorship as well.
bless your heart.
Absolutely.
I say.
I want that dad joke we were promised.
So this is so, so this is so this happened. This really happened. I think it's funny, but you guys might not think it's funny. But some people think it's inappropriate. But hey, you know what? I'm the judge. So at any rate, so I had a court. It was a hearing. Like I said, the courtroom was packed. It was probably one of the busiest days that I've ever seen in the courtroom, and we probably seat close to 300 people, 200 people, I'll say. And there were about 300 people in the courtroom that day. And we've had about 30 inmates who are chained together in their orange jumpsuits that were being transported from the local jail for their arraignments. And many of the inmates were felons, violent felons who needed to get their misdemeanors taken care of before they went to their minimum or maximum security prison. And we had law enforcement agents outside. All three walls within the courtroom were filled with law enforcement agents standing, because there was so many people and there were so many defendants. We had the DA was in there, the state police were in there, the municipal police were there, and the sheriff's department was there. So I just want to paint a picture of what was going on in the courtroom at the time. And again, I was new. I had only been on the bench for a couple of weeks. And so I had a stack of files. So all of the case files, this was the back in the day when before computers, and we had computers, but we weren't using them as efficiently as we are now. And so we had the old school manila folders, and each defendant had a folder, and some of them had multiple folders. Usually a folder could contain maybe 10 citations and police reports at most. And so I noticed that one particular folder had about 15 that folders, and they were all put together by rubber bands. And so the stack for this one particular defendant had to be at least 10 to 12 inches high. And so, and remember, each one of those files had a minimum of 5 to 10 not police reports, citations. But each one of those citations, one piece of paper could have 5 different crimes. Wow. And so I'm required to go through every single one of them, add up how much potential jail time the person was doing or could do, fines the person could be subjected to, and probation the person could be imposed if they were found guilty or they pled guilty to every single crime. And so it took me literally about 25 minutes to go through all of them. And I called the gentleman's name, and he stood up, and so I began. I didn't read all of the statutes, but I gave him the summary, and I said, Mr. Smith will say, I've gone through all your cases. You've been charged with this many misdemeanors. I think it was like 150 or 250 misdemeanors. You've been in class 1, 2, and 3. In the jail time, if you were found guilty or pled guilty, would be, I'm going to say it's like 250 years in prison.
Oh my goodness.
The probation you were looking at was about 500 years of probation, and the fines were over $1 million. And you could hear a pin drop. And I said, but I do have good news. I just saved a lot of money on my car insurance by switching the guy. By switching the guy. So literally, the police officer, this is the one that the police officers, I got to give them to them. You could see tears coming down their faces.
Oh, no.
They did not move, but you could just see teardrops coming down their faces. About half of them had to leave the courtroom, and you could just hear them laughing outside. And then on cue, just like they're an orchestra, all the guys that were sitting in the orange jumpsuits, their bodies just flopped forward, and all you could see was their bodies going up and down, and the chains rattling because they were laughing so hard. So the defendant, he really couldn't grasp everything. Make a long story short, I ended up dismissing almost all of them. He had already been in jail for about 3 months because he's a homeless veteran who suffered from PTSD, and all of the charges were criminal trespass, drinking in public, sleeping on park benches, failure to ID. He probably had at least 300 or 400 warrants. And so I just dismissed everything and gave him time served, and then released him into the custody of one of the local churches. And he never recidivated and never offended again. But up until that time, he was the typical revolving door. And I could see, even when I was going through the police reports, that the officers didn't even want to really arrest him, but oftentimes they didn't feel like they had a choice because he was a big guy, and he was a veteran, and he looked intimidating, and people get scared, and you just can't pick them up and take them somewhere else and drop them off, especially if they're homeless. So the officers would take them into custody, thinking they're helping him out because he would get, free dental care, he would get free vision, he'd get a shower, a place to stay, and some food. So that's one of the cases that I'll never forget. And so some people, they think, oh my God, how you could do that, and other people, they think it's a riot. So.
I love that. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Brother Mark has a question. Brother Mark, please, the floor is yours.